behind you. Good times lie ahead. With company worth keeping, that'll bash a smile on your head. Come on in, the door's open, you'll find just the finest folks here. Pull up a chair, grab a drink, and let our stories your ear. Cause we're the talk in the tavern. Here you're always welcome. The talk in the tavern. Promising beer and bed love. The talk in the tavern. Music, medicine, and some. The talk in the tavern. The song's over. Here we come.
And welcome to Monday, March 30th episode of Talk of the Tavern, Virtual Happy Hour, where we're premiering something I'm hoping to do quite a bit, and we'll get to that in a bit. I am Travis, and I'm going to run the shows and click the buttons. And tonight I'm going to have a cigar, Series R Black. Ed, Elizabeth, I want to tell you two about this. Chris, you might be interested. It's a Tennessee whiskey, but it's salty caramel. And it's a little sweet, but it's not like sickly sweet or very syrupy. It's pretty decent. And that was about $17 for that bottle right there. Very, very tasty. Andrea, I feel like you would... What's that?
I said, it looks interesting.
It's pretty good. And Andrea, it would go really well with my maple pipe tobacco. Let me introduce everybody else for you guys. Or let them introduce themselves. We'll just go clockwise. Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm drinking rum and Dr. Pepper. What else is new?
Very good.
That's all.
Okay, excellent. Well done. Hey, John. Ed.
Yo. I'm drinking another bottle of Jameson somebody left here. Black Barrel. It's good.
You know something I tried Saturday was a Jameson like the stout, but this was a cold brew, so it had a coffee flavor to it.
Oh, okay.
If you're a coffee fan, it was good. If you're not a coffee fan, well, it's, Elizabeth? Hold on. Wait a second.
Muted.
You're muted.
Hello everyone, this is Elizabeth on my channel, Twitch TV /Pickle Lady, drinking Guinness. It's good for you, cures what ails you, and wada. Happy to be here tonight, happy to see all my lovely friends, and happy especially to see you.
So everybody keep in mind right there, Pickle Lady did a link for her. Please, Gary, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that, my friend. But do go give Elizabeth a follow and show her some love and check out her puppeteering streams, her art streams, and her streams. And now Andrea, speaking of streaming.
Oh, me. What? Hi, I'm here because I'm not working tonight, but I am essential, so I do work tomorrow.
You're essential for the tavern is what you are.
Yeah, you are.
I have my sweet tea, and I have a bowl of ice cream.
It was regular tea till she put her lip in it. Now it's sweet tea. Okay. So, virtual happy hour is something I've been wanting. You don't lick the lint roller. What is wrong with you? I'm not talking to Andrea.
Don't tell me what
to do. So virtual happy hour is a concept that's been popping around the internet for as long as the internet has been around. But it's become popularized with self-isolation and everything going on, where people are like, let's get together. Well, folks, we have a tavern that's been established since 2012. So let's have a happy hour. And what I'm going to try to do while all this stuff is going on and people aren't allowed to go out and annoy other people, I invite you here pretty much every night of the week at 8 o'clock. I will attempt to be on barring exhaustion or other things in life cropping up. And that's frankly, even if I'm like coughing and hacking, I can mute during that. I will come on and stare at you bleary-eyed, and you guys can chit-chat. At least gives you guys a place to get together and hang out where you know there'll be other people.
Even when he's sick, it's social distance.
That's right. We can social distance and be alone together. Unlike what Elizabeth witnessed in the hotel lobby of where she is. That was a good time.
People don't participate in the social distancing. They were huddled together like a bunch of junior high girls. Just bunch of grown men spitting on each other and coughing on each other. And then getting out of the
what they
elevator
were
together.
doing?
Porn, apparently, yeah.
Well, there was butt crack involved.
There was butt crack.
I saw the photo.
Besides annoying me, I'm not sure. Have Guinness. Guinness makes everything better.
It does. So we have Gary and John joining us in chat. I did see one or two others, but I'm not going to call them out if they're, in the bathroom and hear their name or just don't actually want to be recognized. But hey, good to see everybody. Thanks for popping in. Now let me scour that list, see who else is here. Okay, got it. We may or may not have our Brit coming in.
Wank hat.
So, our local states have been shut down. They all have the shelter in place or the isolation or the don't fucking come out to the beach en masse on the first nice day of the year, you morons, order in place. Which that's actually just for everybody out there who's trying to sneak out and do things. This is where the government is seeing people not following the directives. When you gather in large groups in huge open areas, like the beach. If you're going to go out, maybe do what Ed does. Walk through the woods. It's heavily shaded. People can't see you from above. If you do see somebody else, it's pretty easy to maintain that 6-foot distance.
It's not right now.
Not right now.
There were so many people on the trail. You were walking,
Just climb.
butt to front. Like it was crazy.
Well, don't go on the trail. Go camping. I mean, Ed and I have been in a fully packed campground and never once got within 6 feet of anybody else. Even
Yeah,
each
true.
other. What, Ed?
True,
Yeah.
but they closed them all down.
They did, which means it's free right now if you go in.
Or, a year in prison and the $5,000 fine.
No, they will not imprison you right now because of social distancing. The fine, well...
I thought, I'm on the road, so I didn't hear all the announcements, but I thought you're not supposed to leave the home at all now, unless for medical or emergency or food or work.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or work, so...
Work
so,
if you're an essential employee only.
Yes.
I'm
So,
essential.
we talk of the
I'm
tavern.
somebody.
We're not supporting or suggesting people to go out hiking at this point.
Unless
you can run
you want
really
to spend
fast.
a year in prison or $5,000.
Here's the
and make sure
deal.
you take a video while you're running, and we'll post it for you.
I live on 2 acres next to like 20 acres of woods. I can walk outside and go hiking. And that's what I'm talking about. If you want to violate federal property, that's on you. That's right. See, I'm going to read Toey and Gary's comments here. Gary says, I wouldn't usually post something like this for people to see, but it has some good info. And one of the things that it points out is that the Chinese study has said that 6 feet is not sufficient. I'll talk about that in a second, Gary. Toei says, you can do anything you damn well please. It's on you. Gary says, I go out cycling twice a day. I wouldn't be able to be saying if I didn't do that. Which, by the way, you are allowed to go outside for exercise. So you are allowed to go hiking, just not on federal
Not
property.
in not in Maryland anymore. Exercise alone even does not constitute going outside.
Okay, so check your local restrictions. Virginia, you're still allowed out for exercise.
I downloaded the PDF this afternoon of the orders that Hogan signed.
Is Travis roboting for anybody else? Or
A wee bit.
there's a robot going on, Travis?
Must be a long distance call. He was yelling.
So-
I'm looking up that just to see what's going on with Virginia order.
Oh, y'all probably couldn't hear me because my microphone was up.
I heard you.
Oh.
I thought it was just happy to hear from you.
They were just.
So I can just mute myself, and hopefully that'll stop the roboting. But then you guys are kind of pressure on you to
muted,
talk.
we can't hear you.
Right. It's not house arrest. You can still go to businesses that are open. That is correct. It's,
That is correct.
yeah. If you have a
Well-
reason to be out of the house that is valid, you're allowed to leave the house.
Just on your own property.
Are they going to set up roadblocks?
No.
Is that okay?
Did you? I
I
read.
know they have in North Carolina. A friend of mine was trying to drive this way to shelter in place with us here. And she was like, they turned me away at the North Carolina border and would not let me pass through because I wasn't a state resident.
And Florida, and Jersey, and parts of New York.
And Texas.
So, they are not, as of now, doing that in Virginia. What tomorrow brings? We'll see. We'll see. It's as my
Did
sound.
you hear that? Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. My sound okay now?
Yep.
Okay, carry on,
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
it's fine now.
Since the people have been staying home and been homebound, they say domestic disturbances are on skyrocketing.
Yeah, I saw a news article about that where they're like, they say this may cause extra domestic violence. Well, no shit. It's,
I don't understand that. If you're going to be violent with the people you're with, why are you with? But when this is over, there's going to be a lot of divorce lawyers being employed and OB-GYNs because of pregnancies.
let's hope
So
there's a
it's
lot of
gonna go either
divorce
way.
lawyers. Because
No.
if you're in an abusive relationship, no matter who you are, the man, the woman, same-sex couple, if you're in an abusive relationship, don't stay in it. Don't make the excuse that, well, we were locked away together. Doesn't matter.
No, that means you shouldn't be together. So there'll be lawyers involved, so either divorce lawyers or like defendant lawyers.
It's, yes, and leaning out your window yelling, I hope you get the Rona is not the call John. Tempting, John.
Is that like call Sal?
Yeah, that's Better Call Saul. Better Call John. So, Andrea, you had another topic that was kind of interesting.
I do not know how to pronounce the word.
QAnon.
What word?
What?
The letter Q, and then anon,
Yeah.
like the
Yes.
first part of anonymous. QAnon.
Quanon?
Uh-huh.
I work here. It's just at the desk.
Quanon?
QAnon.
QAnon?
QAnon.
Not. That's what it says?
That's how it's pronounced,
QAnon.
exactly like it's spelled.
Okay. Well, okay. Have you heard of QAnon? If not, well, are you into conspiracy theories? Because this is a great one.
Tell us more.
It involves, like, what is it, Trump and defeating or going against the Satan pedophilia people, and there's Pedophile Island, and all these millionaires are in on everything. It's so fucking.
It's a pro-Trump group, and Toei says QAnon. They're awesome. It's a pro-Trump support group, not an official thing. It was started like on a Reddit thing, or 4chan. I'm sorry. Then later went to 8chan. And basically, yes, it is going against a secret Satanist cabal. Secret Democratic Satanist cabal, who some of the things QAnon has pointed out.
Yes, Toei pizza. That's great.
Has pointed out is there is a secret pedophile island just for high-powered Democrats. You know, like, who's the guy that killed himself in prison?
It's fun for the kids.
Epstein.
There we go, him. And also things like, oh, right, the Democrats are getting together and doing rituals to take blood from babies to help make them stay younger longer.
Yeah.
It's not working.
I just,
It's not how that works.
I love a good conspiracy theory, but wow.
See, and that's the problem. The popularity is growing because, first of all, you have the QAnon people who are like, yay, QAnon. Then you have people like us who go, this is so fucking over the top. I gotta talk about it and see who thinks it's real. So when these people are putting out information, they're not sure if they're the sarcastic assholes such as ourselves, or they're the real true believers, which is a totally different kind of asshole.
I have a theory about this. They are like us, being very sarcastic, but sarcasm does not translate well in print. So then you have the people that run with it. Oh, this is true because I read it. Instead of checking other sources or looking for more information, they take it as
Gospel.
this is it.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Now, I'm curious. What's up with the pizza thing? You want to explain that to me? And then you could tell me more
No.
about the celebrity. Did you say no?
I said no. I can't because I'm on the Wi-Fi on my phone. I can't get to all my notes. That's
Wah, wah.
So what about the celebrity clones? What? Anybody know anything about this?
I got the
I don't know
pizza
about the-
conspiracy up here.
Hold on. Let me get off of. I can't
You
have
gotta get
Twitch
off?
up. In that.
Alright,
Yeah,
everybody hang on, here she goes.
Everybody?
It's a hell of a segue from QAnon, but go on.
All right, hold on.
Oh, pizza is a code word for pedo
Just tell me what to do.
interests.
Go ahead. What were you
Chair.
saying?
Pizza is a code word for pedo interests, and I'm curious about the. I'm wondering if the lizard people, the shape-shifting lizard people. Jacob, thank you for that resubscribe. 3 months here in the tavern. Here's to you. But I wonder if the shape-shifting lizard people.
I think they started it.
Subscribed for 3 months in a row. 3 total.
They might have. They need to take some attention off of them. They're like, wow. Because usually, for the most part, no, I guess the lizard people do go on both sides because they've blamed Bush and Clinton of being lizard people. Bush senior. Huh? What, Andrew?
I thought they were lizard people.
Well, not shape-shifting ones. They're more lizard-y people.
what they do.
But only George Sr., not George W. Nobody would even point at George W. and go, that's a hyper-intelligent alien.
See, I know about this. I've heard about it. I've heard more about it lately. I don't know all the stuff, but it is quite amusing. So,
Just because it sounds crazy doesn't mean it's wrong.
In this case,
Yeah. So you're gonna try to ruin pizza for me by associating it with pedophiles? Is that what's happening here?
Not me personally.
Apparently.
Apparently. Now, is it all pizza or is it a certain type of pizza? Like, I don't know, pineapple, kind of like
Hey.
kitty flavors.
Pineapple pizza out of this.
Actually, I am also curious, yeah, if different toppings means like different children, gender, or
Maybe-
age
Maybe
groupings.
meatballs. You know?
I'm sure there's a list. Yes.
Canadian bacon, because it's not fully ham. You know what I mean? Is there?
Oh, that's great. I like that. Toey says, clone conspiracy example. The real Michael Jackson died and was replaced by a clone. But it was defective, and that's why the replacement's nose and skin was falling apart.
Ah, is that what happened?
And then John says that they serve you pizza on a diaper, run. If they serve you a diaper on the pizza, runs. Oh,
Free now with free binkies.
Gary says, is this the Comet pizza stuff? I was
Comet
off for a
pizza.
minute. What is Comet pizza? This is...
No. What is the yes? Good.
Huh?
I was gonna say yes. Comet pizza. Explain this. What does that mean? Is
We're-
that like the comet and the dinosaur?
We're still... The dinosaurs ordered pizza via Comet and they died? Is that what you're saying? That's a great
Yeah.
conspiracy. Let's go with that. Toey has
Have you
clarified.
seen
Pizza
the
with
meme
jelly
where
beans.
it's like a couple of dinosaurs and a small mammal like running towards the water, and they're like, "Quick, everyone, wash your hands! Tyrannosaurus, wash your hands! Corona is coming!" And he's like trying real hard but can't get his hands together, and that's the reason why they died out.
That's so sad. Oh,
John
So fun.
Podesta. No, Gary, I am not familiar with John Podesta.
Let me Google it.
And Toey points out there's all sorts of meanings attached to various emoji regarding pedos. So it's emojis now, not just pizza. Like the Tavern gang is so much more
I
wholesome.
know what the eggplant emoji means.
Toey has just said we're wholesome because she knows about a bunch of sketchy shit. We know about sketchy shit, just not this sketchy shit. Then again, I am essentially, deep down, at my core, a nice guy who's pretty fucking naive about a lot of things. The only reason I know about things is because of experience, not because I went, let me dig up some weird shit. It's because weird shit, I stepped in it. What do you got,
This is
Andrew?
kind of the crux, or
Yeah?
of conspiracy theories. There's enough facts involved in them. It's just maybe the little leaps or steps of logic aren't quite adding up because maybe they're trying to find it. But Epstein did run a sex island.
Mm-hmm.
He did ship people out, including one of our presidents, without Secret Service many, many times to his island, and they, who knows who and what they had sex with. I mean,
Well, I don't
he's
know.
known
I'm definitely
for-
saying I don't know. I have no clue, no idea.
Yeah,
Go on.
I'm just saying. You don't throw out. What is it? Throwing out the bathwater.
Baby with
the
bathwater.
or whatever.
The baby with the bathwater.
Though I like it the
There's
other way
a
around.
little bit nuggets of truth in there.
Though if you're on Pedo
And,
Island, they
like,
definitely don't want you
recently-
to throw out the baby.
There's a whole conglomerate of pedophiles on YouTube, and they have ways of watching videos, and they communicate to each other using special words and groupings and links, and they're really trying to track it all down. But it is there.
Did they
These
have
are
a
bad
meeting
people.
where they
Yeah, that's-
decided what these things would be? Where they're like, Pedo meeting, 3 p.m., we need to make YouTube videos so we can talk to each other.
Well, for a while
Kind of.
there, Mambla was gaining ground
It
politically and socially as we are victims and we shouldn't be illegal. We should,
We did a show on it, didn't we,
take
Ed?
it in consideration.
Ed, do you remember the show on it?
Nah,
Do you remember the Men Being Bitches show?
nah.
Where we actually had people defending Mambla.
Was it more than 6 months ago?
Oh, yeah. This was
I
six.
remember the
Okay,
videos.
I do remember now. I do remember now. Someone
Andrew,
was, yeah. Okay.
You made it like...
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, the way the people defended it, they weren't defending the current iteration. They were defending when this started, this was the concept, and it was taken and changed, which, like so many things do. Social justice warriors, the Tea Party. There was a lot of things that the initial concept was good,
Yeah.
and then it got weird.
I've had this discussion with a lot of Mormons, Oh no, we don't marry a lot of wives and underage children and murder Christians and remove their gravesites at flowery meadows. Anyone? Massacre in America?
Are you saying the Mormons are responsible for the Oklahoma City bombings? Is that what you're saying right here?
No.
That they got together
I'm
with the
just saying.
Amish to get fertilizer?
No. I'm saying that they're lizard people who got sick of eating pizza.
And children, to stay young.
It became Mormons?
Became more. I'm just saying that that's always the argument. Oh well, that's not how it originally started. Like, communism originally worked, and sometimes things are just a bad idea from the get-go. Okay, just stop.
Andrew,
Stop.
you
It's
made
okay,
an
just
amazed
do it.
little giggle about 4 minutes ago where you found something and you didn't get to talk about it yet. Do you still have that in front of you?
Probably.
That was Andrea. Yeah.
Yeah, the John Podesta thing. There's a hashtag John Podesta on Twitter. So people are sick of the video of John Podesta's Pizzagate yelling at a young boy in the shower. Evil, these people are fucking sick. I don't know. It's that QAnon or whatever it is.
You tell the
And
best stories.
Then I go on to see. I go on to see a thing about Pizzagate conspiracy theory, where it started at this comic pizza place and angry parents were threatening to burn it down.
Was it
and-
Pizza Planet?
No,
Are they
That was Toy
passing?
Story.
But apparently the Pizzagate thing started in 2016 and just has kept going. Oh, this is
Andrea, you know that comedian that
on.
talks about like a 4-year-old telling a story? You know who I'm talking about?
what?
You know the stand-up comedian you listen to on Pandora who talks about his 4-year-old telling a story, and then I think it's John Mulaney, and then one day they get it right.
No, it's Joe Coy.
Joe Coy, okay. Well, that's how this whole thing started, where you're like, and then this, and this, and this.
I can't help it. I am like a 4-year-old. Oh, shiny! I like chocolate.
A friend of mine posted on Facebook that they have their 3-year-old is a talkative 3-year-old, and it's like having a drunk little parrot try and yap with you on your shoulder all day long because they never shut up.
See, that's me. But I'm the one here that's not drinking. But I'm the drunk parrot.
It was Comet Ping Pong Pizzeria that was home to a child abuse ring led by Hillary Clinton. That was the conspiracy.
A child
That
abuse
was the
ring,
common
or sexual abuse, or just like, hey, come in, get a pizza, smack my kid, head out.
Well, if it's Hillary Clinton, I mean, both could be true. But let's dive into the article.
By the way, to be clear, before Elizabeth goes in this, guys, this is all just information off the internet, which may or may not be true. We are not supporting any of this information and saying it is absolutely true or not true. We're just reading some shit we found.
But we're
Is that a
saying
good?
it's fucking hilarious.
It's fucking hilarious.
That's my
Stuff says
disclaimer,
it's
so
not
Hillary
true.
doesn't show up next week going, "I want my say." I'm like, put my son down.
No, she said that. Nope, she said that Snopes said it's not true.
Yeah, Snope said it was false, but it's funny.
It's funny as hell. Oh,
Go on, go ahead and
All
read
my
it.
friends have now posted the Muppet Treasure Island Cabin Fever song on Facebook.
Best part of that movie. We got cabin fever. We got cabin...
It's burning in our brain. We've got cabin fever. It's driving us insane.
Oh.
If Grumpy Cat were still alive, they'd have all these memes like "Alone at last, finally."
And he'll be dancing.
Well, I've seen one of the lady yelling at the cat at the dinner table meme.
Yeah.
Where it's like the lady yelling at the cat and she's saying "Where'd the cat go?" And the next frame is the empty, and then there's a third one, and the bottom one was social distancing, and it's like a cat under a blanket.
That's great.
Toey says Hillary wouldn't show up anyway. She'd just have you killed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, like you do.
I got cigars. Bill might show up. Now I'm nervous about putting the cigar in my mouth.
You're nervous about putting a cigar where?
Really, any orifice across the board.
Okay, this is it. It says the Comet Pizza is a pizza place owned by James Alefantis, who is the former gay boyfriend of David Brock, the CEO of Correct the Record. It has been the venue for dozens of events for the Hillary campaign staff. John Podesta and his campaign fundraisers there also, for both Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. And John Brothers. Anyway, so there you go. And there's big time.
So then it had a
Brock is
campaign
gay.
thing at the pizza place?
Yeah, big fundraisers. So that's just the connection. So,
I am so used
doesn't matter
to
what it means.
these theories usually applying to the Republicans and the Republicans being demonized. It's kind of bonus amusing that it's being turned the other direction now. And not that Democrats weren't demonized in their own little ways, but it's just usually the crazy shit is coming from, I don't know, straight out of Berkeley or some shit.
Other stuff like emails, and they followed Alfantis's Instagram account, which posted images of children in gay clubs and blah blah. But there's no evidence. It's just
Children have their
drama,
own
drama,
gay
drama.
clubs?
Apparently, yeah. Chuck E. Cheese, Hunky Cheese. No, what would be better? Hunk and Swiss cheese. Hunk and the Swiss cheese.
Maybe Chunky
That
Sleeves?
sounds like an infection.
Hunky,
Chunky Sleeves?
chuck my cheese. Chuck my cheese. Hunky cheese.
No.
Kennedy says it happens. Kennedy, I am glad you're here.
Pizza whore.
I want to ask you a couple of questions, Kennedy. Because you're in New York. Like New York City, is that correct? And if so, my questions are, what can you tell us? Give us our boots on the street.
I hear it's creepy as fuck.
I hear it's always creepy as
Well,
fuck, but
kinda
now it's a
always
different
was.
kind. Yeah.
Okay, fine. It's like
28
apocalypse
days
creepy
later.
as fuck.
He's trying to find snakes so he can escape.
In Jersey, work in New York City. And
Where? Where in New York?
have you taken pictures of the empty streets that you've put up somewhere that you can link to us?
Okay,
Are
now
the
this
subways
guy's.
still
I just
going?
watched him spit. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I assume they'll continue their essential transportation for people. Also, have you seen Will Smith with his German Shepherd yet?
I have. All right, now, If there's
Same.
homeless people on the streets, I know it's more predominantly there than it is where we're at. If you're confined to your home, aren't they already home?
I saw an article last week that said first homeless person in reading the screen, in New York died of
Water Street,
coronavirus.
nice.
I'm like, really? First one or first one that's been reported? Come on.
Yeah.
I'm muting the stream for me because Squirrel, my docile, terrifying little pussy, is ravaging a
She's
box.
eating her box.
Yeah, she like tearing chunks out of the cardboard box she's been sleeping in for 2 days, and it's really kind of amusing. He's in it. Talk to me.
Usually she's hiding, but now she's out and about
Oh,
eating cardboard. I don't know.
oh, that's funny. Okay, so I had to approve this message, but I've seen a lot of New York friends, and some people are being stupid, but most places are a big empty from Friends Picks. And it was that, Friends Picks, it thought it was a racial slur against Hispanics. It took the S from Friends and Picks, and it had that part highlighted. Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
That's funny.
Well,
because
my friend's picks just left the lobby. I watched them hawk 2 loogies on the parking lot. They climbed into the van, and now they're hotboxing it. So, good times.
does it say free pizza for kids on the side?
No, but it does say tater totter tots. Tater totters for tots.
Wait, does it really, or is that a code? I
don't know.
You gotta explain it to poor naive Travis.
Too smoky to read it. I can't see the lettering. It's all the smoke.
Are you on the inside now?
Well, yeah. Wait for the commercial break. Hey.
Okay,
Picks. My friend's picks.
so I've got a story. Here's a fun story. So I was someplace, and there was a woman applying for something, and she stayed, instead of 6 feet, she stayed like 18 feet. Like, I'm in a big room by myself. It's like a 25 by 25 room, and I'm in the middle at my table. People can step in the doorway, hand me whatever they need. She's up against the wall, so she's 15 feet from me, and even further from the other people.
Impressive.
And she's very nervous. She's very worried. She's like turning her head every time I speak to her. Which, by the way, somebody mentioned 6 feet isn't far enough. 6 feet is the average. Spit, sneeze, coughing will fly, but it can fly up to like 15 feet, depending on the force put behind it. What's it? Yeah, I got spit a little further than that. But anyhow, she had to. I sent everybody to their car and brought them back in one at a time. And when she came back in, I said, I just want to make sure you seem pretty concerned about everything going on, which is very understandable. But I need to know you're going to be comfortable at this workplace with many people in that workplace. And she goes, oh yeah, I'm perfectly fine. It's not you, it's those people. As she looks meaningfully into the hallway. And I'm like, employees? Because Travis is a moron when it comes to these things. And then I realized, oh, right, she's white. People in the hall are not. And I'm like really thinking, the virus is very discerning. It only attacks certain people. And then I go next door to actually to the room where they're bringing people in to do other things, process paperwork and whatnot. And I mention to my manager, hey, just word of caution. And that's when I hear my phone ringing. And I walk back to get my phone as it stops ringing, and I hear her on the phone. She's moved like 20 feet the other way, down the hall, away from everybody. And I hear her on the phone, and when I hear her stop talking, voicemail on my phone. And she goes to walk past my door. I'm like, did you just call me? She's like, what? I'm like, did you just call my phone? She's like, oh, are you the 540 number? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I thought it was another job. I was trying to get back to them. I wouldn't want to miss that. Oh, by the way, I figured out a way.
Such a winner.
Was it her?
What was what her?
Did she leave the voice
Oh yeah,
message on your
it was
phone?
her
I mean,
calling my phone back because I had called her in her car to bring her inside so we could do this next process. Kennedy says, I'm avoiding my wife, but not because she's Asian. Can she do this thing with plungers and Corona bottles that I saw online? Anyhow, hold on, I had another one. Oh, so I figured out a way to tell people to back off and back away from me without feeling rude. Kitty, hello, how are you? Good to see you. Kitty, are you one of my regular viewers renamed? I'm guessing you might be, considering you following since December, or is this just been a while since I've seen you? But anyhow, I have figured out how to make people step away from me without being rude. And that's, could you step back? You don't want my cooties. I'm using the word cooties, and it makes a very serious situation a little lighter and a little easier. And people laugh and they step back. I'm like, it's a weird world. Cooties. Don't want my cooties. I don't want yours. Or those people. Okay, Kitty. There's somebody else that has a username somewhere else very similar to yours, and I just want to make sure that you weren't... And they might stop in. It's actually the witch's door I'm thinking of. But anyhow, glad to see you again, Kitty. Life going okay for you? Everybody healthy and wealthy and wise? Got any cool stories about weird people? Ed, you got any cool stories about weird people?
Nope.
No? Nothing going on in the grocery store when you go to get more toilet paper?
I haven't been to the store in a while.
Okay. But you don't need to. Elizabeth?
I need to find cheese. There's no shredded cheese about. I don't know why. Everyone wants shredded cheese.
You should
Is
buy
there
it.
block cheese?
And a grater.
No, there's no cheese.
Oh,
Wow. You need one.
I am the cheese. Remember that book? I am the cheese.
Kitty, what do you mean the
a friend-
VA... I'm sorry, Elizabeth. Give me a second. I'm going to hand it right back to you. The VA shut down urgent care as in Veterans Administration or as in Virginia? If you could clarify that. Elizabeth, please. You've been trying to say something for like 2 minutes.
Okay, so one of my friends he's very social, doesn't do quarantine very well, I guess. And a good friend of mine had him over. And when he arrived, there was a chair already set up with a beer in it. And then my friend sat in his chair, and they were like 10 feet apart. They shared a beer, and then he made him go home because he had to go to the bathroom. Well, you gotta go home now. You're not coming inside. Responsible social distancing and drinking beer.
I talked to a guy where I work. He works for the hotel that I was working out of. That sounds like I'm a hooker. Totally not. I would have a better car if I was. And he had his day off, and he invited some people over. And they put gravel down in his driveway and did some other work around the house. And then they were sitting around. They had multiple picnic tables. They were all separated. He's at the grill, cooking at the grill and everything. And the cops pull up and says, we've had some complaint about social distancing here.
Jealous.
Well, and actually this guy, who is actually recently bought this house and doesn't really know his neighbors well, He's a black guy, and I'm thinking he had some Hispanics over, and they were doing manual labor, working on his day off. And now they were all spaced well enough apart. But he says, you know what? I saw your car go past my house like 3 different times since we started this morning. He's like, yeah, that's right. You guys were like spreading the gravel and stuff, right? He's like, yeah. And now here we are, all separated, and we don't have over 10 people here. Where's the problem? And the cop is like, yeah. Okay, just wanted to stop in and see what was going on. Jacob says, now more present was doing a thing when I hopped in and forgot to say something. Well, welcome back, Jacob.
Hello, Jacob.
It's,
Yep.
See, I'm all for the let's keep some distance. This is why we have an internet show. It works out well for social distancing. But let's not be stupid about it. Now, besides all that stuff going on, is there anything else going on in our lives, in our world, that we can talk about?
I signed up for close to 2.5 weeks of online training courses today.
In what?
You have time.
Let's see. The OSHA 30 class. So
Wow, is the
safety
movie in-
regulations.
Is that
What?
is that movie thing up to 30 already? I only saw up to like OSHA 12.
There's an OSHA 10 and an OSHA 30.
Boo.
Oh, ha 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 ha. I get it. You suck.
But it's funny.
This one has kids and pizza in it. OSHA 30. Filmed by Weinstein.
And nothing's safe. Let's see. I signed up for a bunch of the ETC, which is the electronic theater controls, lighting control system. All 9 of their available online classes. And then I signed up for 3 of the Dante audio networking online courses.
So are you
Isadora, which is a projection software. They have a bunch of online stuff.
and are you
So
going
is
to
Dante's Inferno one of the courses?
Yes,
I heard it's hot.
very.
except for the 8th plane? That's frozen over. So Chris, are you paying for this out of your pocket or is work paying for it?
Work's paying for it all.
Nice. And are you going to get like a degree or certifications or something that you can carry with you?
So like the ETC courses that are normally, I don't know, a couple of $100, they're all free right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because they were like, let's train as many theater people as we can while no one's allowed to leave.
Yeah.
So like all of their online training courses are currently free. So like what I'm signed up for would probably be close to $2,000 worth of training courses I'm getting for free. The
Nice.
OSHA one is like $200 or $180, something like that. But the theater, any of the ones that are I need to pay for, the theater is paying for. So
Well, that's good. It's a couple of
we're ready
comments.
for professional development.
Yeah, especially for free.
Yeah.
And Kitty says, asking about Dante's Inferno, what about the section for Vikings? I think that would be the section for pagans and unbelievers, which I don't remember what layer of hell that is. Does anybody else remember where Dante put? And Jacob says that he streamed for the first time last week, so that's a thing. So did Elizabeth, by the way. So well done there. Said it went all right. Rabbit and Mez did a good job. Said I did a good job. Being my first time, a bit hard to focus on what I was doing. What were you doing, by the way? But you did good interacting with chat. That's good. That's good. There is a learning curve, and I tell you what, the nervousness, the anxiety, I don't want to say it goes away, because it doesn't. But you forget to be worried about it sometimes, and there's other days it's just there for whatever reason, even now. Okay, Viking Hell. So yeah, that's not part of Dante's. I think that's a separate subdivision. It's like, suburbia of hell.
What was the question again about Dante? Can you repeat that?
I asked where did Dante say unbelievers went. So heathens, pagans, the ones that don't believe in the Christian God. Tempe, how are you? Couple more comments. Kennedy says been spending a fair amount of time on Zoom and such. Victor and the Bully has an open session. They leave open for fans to chat, so I'm getting a lot of info on the UK. Good. Okay, I see what you did there, Jacob. Jacob was setting up his role-playing game and placeholders for the layout.
It says, I can't remember, it's the first ring of hell.
Okay, first ring of hell. Yeah.
Circle. Yeah.
Circle, yeah. Lair, plane, circle, ring. It's but yes.
I ordered a gift for Andrea that won't be here till the end of next month, so we'll have to wait for that.
Ordered a what?
Uh-huh.
You ordered me a ring of hell?
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention.
Isn't that a Johnny Cash song?
It's a knitting tool.
Yep.
The ring of hell.
That's right. Burning Ring of Hell.
You should see the socks it makes, though. It's amazing.
There's just no
Travis, you asked me to mention this, so I had a beer last week a friend gave me, and it was, I can't remember the company. I can see the can, and it was hot cocoa, something or other. And it tasted like, well, it's supposed to taste like hot chocolate with marshmallow in it. It was more like liquid cake or a milkshake. And it was incredibly sweet, and I tried my best, and I could only get through half of it. I just couldn't. It was just
See, but
too much.
I sent you a chocolate stout when you went with Andrea to the tattoo place. Now, how was that?
Oh, that was fun. That was yummy.
See, I don't like really sweet beer.
I don't either. But it was one,
Right.
and I could finish it, and it was a heavy seas, and it was fun to drink. It always tastes better when it's a gift. Like, oh, that's nice. This one was so sweet. It was unreal. It was unreal. Even normally I'll let a beer warm up so I can taste it cold and see if it opens up.
Okay.
Taste it through all its temperatures. This one just didn't get any better.
Don't do that with like Miller, Busch, Budweiser.
No.
Just drink them ice cold so they have no flavor and move on. Kennedy's been making.
Speaking of,
Mm-hmm.
there is I saw an article going around that if you take care of a dog or adopt a dog, is it Bush that gives you 3 months of beer?
Yeah, it is Busch Beer will give you 3 months of beer if you foster a dog during the coronavirus crisis. That's all I know. I didn't look further into it because, first of all, I'm not
But
bringing.
what I'm thinking is, what do they consider 3 months of beer? Because I know some people that can drink, and they'd be like, "Oh, a dog, okay." The companies go out of business for their 3 months of beer.
You're too drunk to even help the dog.
I'm picturing people around here going, "Wait a minute, 3 months of beer for me or me and the dog? Because he's got to have his own."
There's a funny cartoon I saw, and it's a woman's getting back from a trip, and the cat is sitting there, and he's just enormous, right? And he says, "Welcome back, Carol. Welcome home." And the automatic cat food feeder, great idea.
I'm going to read off a couple comments. Kitty says, I think Dante had them all go to purgatory. Kennedy has been making scale mail. Kitty says, I have 2 kitties. And Jacob has asked for Elizabeth's
she
link
does.
to a link to Elizabeth's channel so she could follow. So I did the shout out there. Everybody, please click on that link for twitch.tv/PickleLady. Elizabeth is streaming, very family friendly, much cleaner than what we do here, but still, it's Elizabeth. So it's fun,
And she
it's witty, it's
draws.
smart. She draws.
It's really neat to watch her drawings.
Does puppet work, talks about making movies, talks about just
Yeah.
all kinds of things. And
Wait till you see Pickle Man and Pickle play the ukulele. It's gonna be amazing.
Mm. Oh, there's something I did during all of this. Speaking of pickles.
Oh, did you tickle a
fun.
pickle?
Yeah, not like that. Come on now. No, on Amazon Prime,
Yeah.
a thing popped up and it said, Season 1 is available for free streaming until the 31st. And it's a show called Kidding. And it's Jim Carrey. And he plays a character called Mr. Pickle, who has a puppet show. He has his own show that has puppets.
Kids TV show.
Yeah, kids TV show. Oh, I can't even describe it. It's dark and great and fun, and everybody should watch it.
Unrelated to what Elizabeth does. This is about...
Unrelated, yes.
Yeah, this is about a man going through the loss of one of his children and how he's actually super nice in a shitty, shitty world. And him adjusting to that as his world falls apart around him.
It's a really good series. I only seen season 1, but it's really... Sorry.
The awkward looks from
maybe
Elizabeth.
There's people.
Are they breathing and coughing?
I'm getting coffee.
So Kitty's
There's no
Calico
creamer.
figure out how to defeat the auto feeder. Belly flop, I would assume, would do it. So what is everybody
I'm
doing
sorry.
for social distancing? Now, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm playing Fortnite with Elizabeth, World of Warcraft with Chris, streaming with you guys. I still have my Saturday Right Night show, which goes up as a podcast afterwards, a Sunday D&D game that I've taken off the stream just for a couple weeks while we make some tweaks to it. And then tonight, Talk of the Tavern, which goes up as a podcast. By the way, Right Night and Stealing for Survival, the D&D game, were just accepted to iHeartRadio. So now they're on like all 11 or 12 streaming services. And the link is below the screen for everybody. It is coming up on 9. Does anybody need a break? Take a break. I'm going to do this real quick. Guys, I am amazed that my subscribers are sticking with me through this point in time. I am thrilled and happy, and thank you so much for that. I have stopped mentioning bits or subscribing except through Amazon Prime. If you have Amazon Prime and it's linked to your Twitch account, you can subscribe for free. The rest of the stuff I'm not worried about, because if you're not in a financial hardship now, there is a chance you will be in one soon. So I appreciate you just coming in and hanging out. No pressure for anything else. Tempe says it's pollen season, so I'm always inside this time of year anyway. Kitty says her Calico reaches into the feeder, fiddles with the dispenser wheel to get the food to drop. John is closing each store 2 extra days, cut hours back to 4 hours, only 1 employee in the store. Poet, how are you? Good to see you. From the frozen Viking tundra. Wait, no, Poet, you're Greece. No, you're up there. Right. I totally forget. My friend from Greece. Anyhow, working full-time from home, not much difference from my usual routine except me getting to work in my PJs. Nice. Andrew, what are you doing to keep busy? Anything different?
Me?
Sweden, thank you, Poet. Yeah, you, Andrew.
Extra shifts at work.
That's true.
That's pretty much all I'm doing, because people are calling out because either kids, and they need to be home with the kids, or they're pregnant, so the doctor's orders, or, whatever. I'll work, because I don't know how long work will be, so we'll keep up. So
Yeah, I went from 20 hours a week to 60 hours a week. So I'm working a lot also. Kitty says what I'm doing to social distance is sitting on top a hilltop, which is what I do anyway because that's where I live. Poet says springtime, nothing frozen right now. Is it pretty there in spring? And in Sweden, by the way. Thank you for reminding me, Poet. It's been a couple of weeks, and I warned you I'll forget the details.
Sweden.
Yeah,
Nice.
I should have remembered the chef thing. Jacob says lots of things. Working from home for one. Started doing daily Zoom meeting with some people who I went to school with before I dropped out. Isn't it amazing as we social distance how we come closer to certain people?
Well, everybody's using social media and stuff. That's great. And like we're on Skype or Discord, and there's something that I'm doing more. I'm actually creating cards and writing letters. Whether it's people I do send handwritten letters to all the time, because it's something people don't do anymore. It's like a lost art. That's something you can do.
Ooh. Oh, well, Tempe started working out since stuck inside. If she can get out, there's no exercise. If she has to stay in, she'll exercise.
Hey,
And by the
there
way,
you go.
for those of you that don't know, Tempe Wade right there is one of the writers on Write Night with me every Saturday. So say hello to Tempe and make a new friend there. And Tempe, do you have a link to your books for everybody, please? Kitty says, my plum is in bloom and the cherry trees are starting to... I have seen, driving to work, people with the cherry trees lining their drive. It is beautiful. Who gasped?
I did, because now liquor stores are not considered essential and are closing an hour ago.
Thank you, Tempe. Well, Chris, I've got some here, but you've got 15 people in your house.
I only have 3 other people in my house, and one of them is considered essential personnel, so...
Is that the one that works in the adult store?
No.
No. And by the way, Andrea, I don't know if you saw, but Poetic says, oh, letters, that's such a lovely idea. Careful, Poet, you'll end up getting one. Andrea does have a handful of friends overseas that she is pen pals with.
And I like to send out letters. I used to make the paper and the envelopes. I don't have time for that anymore, but I still use the wax seal, and I make the cards now. So.
Yeah, wax seals. You want to tell them what your latest wax seal is?
Oh, it's a little paw print.
What kind
She's
of paw?
So cute. A little cat one with the little toes.
Your pussy print.
What,
Elizabeth?
I'm not saying that.
Nothing.
I don't know.
I was thinking about making a pickle one,
A pickle
a
stamp?
pickle seal.
Oh, okay. What kind of beer is that?
This is Smithwick's Red Ale.
Ah, I like Smittix. And that's how it's supposed to be pronounced from what I understand. Smittix.
Actually, when you order it, you say, I'll take a Smitty. So.
I knew a guy named Smitty. I'm afraid to say that now. Kitty said, threw up a link for her latest writing project. And Kitty, if I'm getting your pronoun wrong, please do let me know, and I'll apologize and get it right from here on out. I did presume, so work with me on that.
How dare you?
But
All right.
Yes,
you
Andrew?
know, I don't know, like little kids. Oh, I'm sorry, reading.
Little kids,
If you
let
ask
me in.
them, speaking of pronouns and Kitty, well, sometimes if you ask a little kid, they're like, all cats are girls and all dogs are boys.
My first long-term relationship, her grandmother, who was from Newfoundland, had that philosophy. All cats were she's in her mind, and all dogs were he's. And actually, when I was young, I did think that. I thought cats and dogs got together, and that's, the dog was the daddy and the cat was the mommy. Until I was about 5 and figured out this is how it works. Very good,
And
Kitty.
chocolate milk comes from brown cows, right?
And Poet says,
Sorry.
okay, that's it. I'm going to get me some pen pals right now. Wax seals. Puts a little heart.
Yay!
So fat-free milk comes from skinny cows, right?
It does.
Mhm.
If you can't tell, I kind of like Batman back there. That's the clock Travis made. I have
Just
this. I have my Batman cup. But this is where I keep all my little wax seals. So I have a paw print. I don't know if you can see these.
Yeah.
Paw print.
Oh.
little cats. Yin yang.
Oh.
Of course, when we went over to the UK, I got Ministry of Magic and Ravenclaw, and I have a whole box of these. And the wax sticks.
Yeah, you do.
I do.
Yeah, you do.
Oh my
I
goodness.
know, and you get some of my letters.
Hold on, let's raise a glass
I
to
got the pop print.
let's raise a glass to Jacob, who
guys.
just tipped $25.
Oh.
Thank you, Jacob. Appreciate that.
Oh,
Here's to you.
here.
I don't even know how you do it that it makes it come up like that. Good job. I've never seen that before.
Chris gonna pee his pants. What is it, Chris?
So, the Girl Scouts have now decided that everyone can buy cookies online.
Link it.
Damn them.
girlscouts.org/cookie-care.
I'm
Red
good.
wine and Thin Mints. Woo!
Ed, did you get 40 boxes?
Shortbread cookie.
Oh, shit.
Did you stockpile the cookies? And Kitty says,
I'm about to.
Kitty says, I met a guy who thought
If
all dogs.
anybody wants to help out at the tavern and send me some cookies, the address is below.
P.O. Box. Kitty says, I met a
I'll
guy.
sing you some.
Go ahead, Ed.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'll make.
Just work on Andrea. Move
I
on.
heard what he said. It's okay.
I'll bring you some. I'll bring you cookies. I'll hand deliver those bitches.
And then throw them at you from 10 feet away.
I
Social
told a
distance.
friend on the, I told a friend on the phone that her mother just died, so I wanted to do something nice. I know she loves my pound cake, so I said, "I'll just slow down on your street and throw it out the window." Just take off. I just want to make a video of that, like.
Drive by cookie.
She said, "Don't do that. The dogs will get it."
You gotta wrap it in bricks. Kitty says, I met a guy who thought all dogs were boys and cats were girls until he was in his teens and had an existential crisis when he found out the truth. I knew a guy who, until he was 18, thought babies came out of the belly button.
That might make it easier, but no. Ew.
I don't think it'd make it any
I
less scary.
apparently, in my youth in England, I was very, very young, and I waited till my mother and I were in a crowded women's room, and I said, "I know how babies are made, but where did they come out?" All the women were like,
Put it in.
Did she tell you? Do you need to know?
"Well,
a
are
good
you
way to-
willing to show?"
That's a good way to put it there, Ed. Same place you put it in.
Same way I got it.
It's,
I love that answer. I'm gonna tell my mother when I get upstairs.
But, I'm just thinking of, wow, some situations like, oh.
Yeah.
and Kennedy posted
Well,
a picture
I
of his
think-
scale. Well, go ahead. I'm just pointing out a link. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, just tell us. We want our audience involved. This is more important.
Kennedy posted a picture, a link to his pictures of the scale mail he's making, which I've known lots of people making chain mail, but not scale mail, so I'm very curious about that.
Oh,
I
you should
clicked
check
on
it out.
and I clicked it and it says it cannot be loaded. So I
Oh, it's
couldn't see it maybe
beautiful.
because
Oh,
I'm on my
just fine.
phone.
Wow, that is nice, Kennedy.
Yeah,
Loaded.
it's cool.
I'm on my phone.
Cool beans.
You could come in here and look. I'll keep it up for you. I mean, here's a picture,
Yeah.
the link.
I'll oh, I can't. I was gonna say, I'll text you. Well, I'm on my phone too.
By the way, Kennedy also says, I like that Talk of the Tavern t-shirts come in deep heather. Reminds me of a heather I dated in the 80s. Which, by the way, we do
I like
have.
that, Kennedy.
We do have the, what is it? Rampant Disease shirt, as well as the C is not just for cookie shirt. And so, yeah, the C could stand for a lot of different things. It is safe for work, because all it says is C is not just for cookie. We also have it on coffee mugs. So it can
It's
be,
for cooties.
it could be cooties, coronavirus, cock, cunt, crazy, or cookie. Like Girl Scout cookies.
Cuckoo!
So, like I said, guys, I'm going to try to do this. Were you deep in, Heather?
All right,
Yes.
I got something.
Go.
Okay, here's the question. All right, here we go. In what movie did a colonial marine meet Iron Man?
A colonial marine. Like a Mars colony or an American
Meet
colonial?
Iron Man. Open the mind now. Open the mind. Don't be too limited. Open the mind.
Not Tropic Thunder.
No, but good guess. You're on. All right, audience. What movie did a colonial marine meet Iron Man?
Ed, what year did the Marines come into
Captain
existence?
America?
What year? What? I'm sorry.
What year did Marines formalize, come into existence?
Oh, 1775.
Really? That
Really? Yeah, back in 1775, my Marine Corps came alive. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
No, please keep going.
Colonial Marines Iron Man.
Okay.
I mean, my first thought was, but no, Robert Downey Jr. is not in that movie. I was thinking the time travel
My
one. Tom
first thought
Cruise.
was
Go ahead.
Captain America.
Do you need a help? Do you need a
Was-
hint?
Bill Paxton and Robert Downey Jr. in a movie together?
Yes.
No
You gotta
hits.
go back.
We're looking at the 80s, I think.
It's been a while. Maybe.
What about any of the viewers? Any ideas? I'm sure somebody's Googling right now.
All of you have seen this movie. All of you have seen this movie.
Is it Legend?
Kitty thinks it's a trick question.
It's not a trick question. I mean, it's kind of asked in a tricky way. It is not an alien movie, but it is those two actors.
I don't know why I knew it had to be those two, but I'm not seeing it.
Who's Bill Paxton?
The
He was a colonial marine in one of the alien movies.
He was like, "Game over, man. Game over."
Game over, man.
Oh, you want some of this? How about you too?
Fair point, Kitty. Kitty says, which Marine Corps, though? The British Marines go back quite a ways. What Elizabeth has hinted at so far is it's the actor who played Iron Man and the actor who played the Marine in Aliens, Bill Paxton and Robert Downey Jr. What movie were they in together?
So there's an ambulance out front, and they're just wheeling a stretcher into my neighbor's house.
Of
Oh,
course
no.
they are.
Hopefully it's
Someone
for...
says weird science, is that correct?
Ding, 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 ding. Weird science.
Robert
Weird science.
Downey Jr. was in Weird
Alright,
Science?
Yeah, he
okay.
was one of the bullies.
Okay. It's been too long since I've seen it. That's one I wouldn't mind seeing him do a remake of.
I like when they put the
totally.
bras on their head.
Yeah. Yeah, nowadays with the
I have
technology
it on my
as it is,
DVR.
yeah, it'd be okay. A 3D printer and, the internet, and I wouldn't
It's a
mind.
little too real now.
And I feel like Michael Cena could be in it. The guy from
John Cena.
no, not John
I don't know,
Cena.
man.
Michael Cena from
Remember that scene where? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Zombieland and Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh, I never know his name.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Elizabeth.
Remember that scene with Anthony Michael Hall when he was really, really drunk in the jazz club and he was talking like a black guy? That was
No, I don't. Been too long.
Do you know? That was so funny. I can't even imitate it. He's kind of like, shit, man, that's it. That's what I was talking about. That's what I'm trying to say.
I do remember. Now that you've done that, I remember. Yeah, and then Anthony Michael Hall did get big in Moscow, as Kennedy says. Paxton was Chad. And although later, Anthony Michael
Yeah,
Hall got to
yeah.
play a dick on Psych as the police chief.
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what
Oh, yeah.
a douchebag he played.
She kicked
He
me
was
in the
really
balls,
good.
man.
Kennedy just said.
Thank you, Kennedy. That's wrong. That's wrong.
And Gary says Paxton, quote, how about a nice greasy pork sandwich served in an ashtray?
Oh, that was a good one. He was a good ass. He was good in that movie.
It's though later,
Yeah, he too had a cigar.
especially when he was a farting blob. Johnny Be Good, he was a dick, and Edward Scissorhands. So he's been in a couple Depp movies, and
That's funny. Go back, man. Back to the 80s, man. I love it when the Mad Max characters came to try to destroy the party. And then at the end, they're
Yes.
like, sorry. Love what you've done with the place.
maybe we need an 80s
That was
movie
fun.
night.
Oh, absolutely.
We
Absolutely.
get an 80s video night Saturday night. It's something Teresa and I do every now and then when we get cooped up in the house. So we'll go to YouTube and I'll just pull up an 80s musician, band, whatever, watch their video. And then whatever's on the right, that's another 80s musician, band, whatever, watch their video and just keep going one after the other, after the other, after the other.
Nice.
Just sit around singing, drinking, getting drunk, and singing worse and worse and worse until we pass out a little bit.
You know, I do something similar, but it's called Twitch Sings, and I drink and sing. and 3 people stay in chat the whole time. Gary and 1 or 2 others.
And the typing gets worse and worse.
The cats get scared, you know.
All right, I got one more. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay. So, in what movie did Machete meet Zorro? Machete.
Oh, this would be, I've got it on my shelf in there. It's actually a trilogy.
Is it Danny Trejo?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
I like him.
and what's his name? Antonio Banderas.
Antonio
Once,
Banderas.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
That's not the answer I have.
I could be wrong on
But
that.
that's a good movie.
I want to say they're both in that.
It's the vampire movie, isn't it?
No.
Oh,
No.
another
Dusk
one.
Till Dawn?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's a 90s movie. Oh, they might.
No,
Was he? No,
Danny
that
Trejo's
was-
in that.
Wasn't it?
There's something that does to them.
No,
No.
that's George Clooney.
Although George Romero had the best gun ever. It was like on his belt, like in his crotch. That was cool. Okay.
Yeah, he made
That's
that.
still done. Yeah, I bet he did. It's probably a 12-shooter. No, it's a kids movie.
Oh, that's not a kid's movie.
I think the first one was in the 90s.
It's a kid's movie?
While you're
like that?
thinking about it, I'm going to read a couple comments here.
Right.
Actually, just Kitty's comment I think is good enough. I remember watching a cop being a dick to a motorcycle rider, and while the officer is being a dick, the biker started to lift up his helmet over his head. Another officer had to step in and talk the biker down before he bashed a dick in the head. I bashed my dick in the head, but usually I'm alone with lotion.
I've had a dick bashed in my head.
It
Woke me up, man. It was a terrible experience.
was on the subway.
aggressive.
It was like I didn't go back to that kindergarten class ever.
Spy Kids, says Kennedy. Was that Trejo?
Hey, Kennedy!
Okay.
Spy Kids it is. Ding, 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 ding.
Now
Well
I've got to
done.
look up
Oh,
Once Upon
I
a
have
Time.
those.
That's where I was headed. I was like, but I think the Spy Kids movies were in the 2000s, not the 90s.
Oh, were they? I can't remember. I think I got it confused with Lava Girl and Shark Boy.
That's
Sure,
part.
when
That's part
That
3.
Was,
Yeah,
that
he was the dad.
Yeah. That was a good movie. It was a kid movie, but it was fun. So. That's
I
what
think
drives
I
me.
have those.
With Pickle Man, I like movies where the whole family can watch. It's just an excuse to get together and then not be so isolated.
And they are both in Once Upon a Time in Mexico, as well as Enrique Iglesias, Eva Mendes, Mickey Rourke, William Dafoe, Johnny Depp, Selma Hayek. That's a hell of a cast right there.
God, I haven't seen
Yeah,
that movie in a
there's a
long
lot
time.
of people in there.
Cheech Marin. Yeah.
Yeah, his eyes get plucked out.
Cheeches?
Just saying.
Yeah, Banderos was the dad in Spy Kids, Kennedy, and he said, I had no idea until Elizabeth said kid movie, so good call there, man. Good call. And I love the fact that nobody's actually Googling these, because you could definitely cheat, and we'd never know. But,
Yeah, I'm too lazy right now. I don't care.
Oh, my editor sent me my book back with edits.
Nothing. Uh-oh. Cool. Don't open it yet.
Not right now.
Don't do it.
Oh, I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just reading the 2 paragraphs she put. She says, I love this, by the way. You create wonderful, real characters. Love all the plot twists, turnbacks, and doublebacks. If you don't get an agent with it, I'd like to Dreampunk Press to publish it. Love to do that. Publish 2 versions in the font you used and the one with the main reading parts in Open Dyslexic. Which, by the way, again, Saturday night, Right Night. Tara, my editor and also a good author herself. Who's that coming in here?
Jewel here.
I don't know if I could pronounce that. Can I just go with lad? Can I just say lad? It's but anyhow, Tara is on there with me also, as well as Tempe, Michael Thompson, and others. Hey, Jewel, how are you? Oh, lad. Says the guy in the top left looks like my grandpa. Okay. Wait, maybe it's... I don't know how to pronounce that. Kitty says not really in
That's
crazy
me. No.
Hello, Victoria.
Victoria, how are you? Good to
Hi,
see
Victoria.
Victoria. Now it's getting good.
you. It is. Kitty says not really all that crazy about some family movies. I want the movie to be at least an older teen level of grittiness. Here's what I'll tell you, Kitty. A well-done family movie is a totally different movie for the kids than it is for the parents. And I'll point out movies like Finding Nemo, which for me is
That's
a great
dark.
example. It is.
Bambi. Oh.
Yeah, it's
Mom
terrible.
gets shot and then eaten. That's pretty dark.
Right there, Kennedy.
It happens.
Kennedy says
I
love
just
to...
watched. Oh,
Sorry. Real quick. Kennedy says, love Tara. She took one of my stories for Fay Thee Well. I think Travis has a poem in that one. I do. About gnomes and, I want to say gnomes and leprechauns in a battle? I forget. But, yeah, that's Fay Thee Well. Anyhow, Elizabeth, what were you saying?
Thanks.
Okay.
I just saw the end of The Sandlot. And that's a very good movie. That's a good family movie. Now, it's not gritty. It takes a little more optimistic, whimsical view of life. But that's a film anyone can enjoy.
And it speaks to you on levels. Go
It
ahead.
does. It does. It does speak to you on a level.
You watch it as a kid, it's one thing. You watch it as an adult, it's a very different thing. And it's a little
Same
bittersweet.
thing with Up.
Up, yeah.
Squirrel?
It's
Hello, my name is Doug. I am a dog. Squirrel!
Jules still working because she's essential medical personnel. That's true.
Yeah. I'm digging it.
Yeah. Kitty says,
Yeah.
Bambi, they kill his mother, burn his home to the ground while attempting to kill him and all his friends and family. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good TV.
Real world shit.
Yeah. And I still think it's
Animals are
rated
talking.
G.
Mm-hmm.
And the animal. It's chippy and gritty.
So there
You
is...
know, but when I'm researching those old horror movies that are for kids, God, they're so serious and dark that they don't show the violence, or it's implied, or
Right.
it's kind of fake, so they get away with it. But it is serious stories, man.
Elizabeth, I want to direct you to... I want to ask you to tell them a little bit about your Pickle Man movies. And then we can comment on it and fill in whatever spaces we want more information on.
Sure, you just want me to talk generally about them, or is there specific?
Oh, well, I can start, and then you can correct me and build on what I say if you want.
Oh, okay, well, I'll start.
Go ahead.
The whole reason with Pickle Man, what I do is I'm spoofing old horror movies because I see the need, as I previously stated, that I want entertainment that anyone can watch, and I want it spooky, but not terrifying.
Right.
And yet, there are moments that can be that way, somewhat. In Zombie Pickles from Space, Pickle Man has to deal with an unknown monster, or is introduced into an unknown monster. He's outnumbered, he's trapped in the house with no way to get out. And I mentioned there's a shot I get where the 3 of the zombie pickles are biting him, and I do this nice little pan so you see them all. And it gets one of the biggest laughs of the whole movie, even though they're eating them. And Dillzilla, he realizes he's the monster. It's the anger within him which is causing the catastrophe, and he learns to overcome it. He does meet up with our army. He destroys the town a little bit, but he resolves his predicament. And it's a nice little way to have him never ever. I made a decision early on. He can never ever kill his way to an ending. He has to resolve it. And so that's the angle I take with Pickle Man, and he's just a center of softness, curiosity, courage, and imagination.
Now, for a comparison,
Pickle Man.
because I think you actually covered it pretty well with what you just said, so I don't have anything to add to that. But in comparison, what kind of stuff, what kind of movies are you writing now?
Horror movies.
Am I-
Absolute adult-rated, R-rated, nasty-ass horror movies.
But B horror movies, yeah?
But smart ones. Well, low budget. Now,
Okay.
Pickle Man is family horror. So
Right.
I do horror and family horror.
And by the
Did
way,
everything...
go ahead.
Go ahead.
Finish your thought.
The scripts I write are for 1 to 5, maybe $5 to $10 million. Very low budget.
Kitty says, and I agree with this statement completely, I totally love this here. I want my horror movies to have suspense like how Hitchcock movies were. I can't stand gore and the let's throw something at the camera trope. I love a good psychological, twisted movie. To me, that is so much scarier than just, oh, somebody got cut, somebody got killed, somebody got attacked. It's what's around the corner. Chinese, actually, I guess I should say Asian horror does this a lot. If you've ever seen, like, The Grudge, but the Asian version, wow, that is very different from American. Yes, Andrea?
The reason why, and I like the Asian version better, but a lot of people don't because they don't understand it, because it's different culture.
Mm-hmm.
Things that are scary and suspenseful to them aren't always to other cultures.
But when they have the one shot where the person is, like, looking around the room going, what was that noise? And you see the girl crawling behind him in the hall and going behind, not into the room, just past the room. See, moments like that is like, wow, that's... And then they turn and go into that hall where she just was, and you're like...
That's half the torture, is the audience, especially when we know it as an audience, but the character doesn't know it. And you're just, that's, love it. Good stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Ed, what are you shrugging about there?
Yum, 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 yum.
I'm black. I don't do horror movies, man. We just leave.
It's true. It's true.
See, that reminds me of, was it Eddie Murphy? Who was it in the 80s? It was a black comedian that talked about, like, you get white people, they're like, what was that noise? Let's go look. You get a black person, the house is like, get out. Black people are like, we're leaving. We're done.
Yeah, too bad we can't stay. What a beautiful house. Oh.
Kitty says, I like
and
watching...
that's the thing.
Go on. You want to finish that, Elizabeth? Then I'll read this?
Go ahead.
Kitty says, I like watching Asian historical dramas. The Chinese version of Mulan puts Disney to shame. And Kennedy says, Japanese horror, they didn't do anything wrong, and there's no way to do something to be saved from evil. Kennedy watched Blackula again recently.
Blackula, yeah, that was good. And Eddie Murphy was good in Vampire from Harlem. Yeah, that was good.
Was it Harlem or Brooklyn?
I want to say Harlem.
Okay.
It might have been Brooklyn, but I want to say Harlem. But
Sure. I know he did Harlem Nights.
yeah.
But if anybody knows for sure, feel free to say, because neither Ed or I are going to say the other one is wrong or that we're definitely right. We're open.
It was Brooklyn.
Brooklyn? Okay.
Heard.
And what about you, Chris? What are you thinking over there? I see all kinds of facial expressions.
Oh, a friend posted a link to excellent Zoom backgrounds, as everyone is now, doing Zoom meetings for all of their things. So there's fun, interesting things that I can now put up the next time I have a work meeting, such as, the bridge of the Enterprise.
Oh,
and
nice.
a view from the ISS looking through the, porthole window. Then there's one that's like the Simpsons couch and other cartoons.
That's cool. Kitty says, I lived Blackula. I'm curious which character you were then. Thank you, Ed. Thank you for those bits. Appreciate it, man.
Delf Jib cheered. X300.
It's,
One of the scariest movies, there's a few, and they're older movies. It's the original Body Snatchers.
yeah.
The original Thing, which was the Thing from Another World,
right.
and the original Body Snatchers. The black and white versions. Though, they're a little campy because, once again, they're for kids, but God, the story and the premise and how they do it. If people are changed because they got the little bit of skin or and the pop. Oh, it's fabulous. Good stuff.
And let me point out to anybody viewing, this is your chance to write down a list of movies to watch while you're stuck inside and find them. And keep in mind, nowadays with the Fire Sticks and Roku and all the streaming services, quite often you can find one of them that has these movies on it. I know Amazon Prime has a ton of cheesy B horror movies. And as for the classics...
Zombievers.
Zombievers. But you could find a lot of these movies. Little Shop of Horrors, one of the fun... That's a dark one that was fun.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Oh, John says my mom was terrified by The Exorcist, and Kitty says the original Body Snatchers was a lot better than the modern version.
All right, I got one for you.
What'd you find there, Ed? Is that Blackula?
Oh, Body Snatcher.
Body
Snatcher. Horror movies, this is what I think of when I hear Body Snatcher.
It's not porn, is it? Elizabeth, what were you going to say?
Trilogy of Terror. It was a 1970s TV made 3 small movies. I think it's in the middle. It's the one with Karen Black, and she's just fabulous and gorgeous. And she gets this African doll from her mom. It's a little wood carving doll.
I've seen
That's
this.
the little teeny doll with the teeth. I never could think of the name of it. Get the fuck out of me.
It's so scary. And it's literally... There's special effects like, and it's so scary. It'll scare the shit out of you. It's fabulous. Oh,
What's the name of it?
check it out. Trilogy of Terror. It's on YouTube. I've watched it a few times. I might make my mother watch it again because I grew up hearing these stories that she watched it in the
John
late
remembers.
70s.
Yeah. Kennedy says Tromeo and Juliet is so bad and so good. Gary says Karen Black was so sexy. And John says with the Tiki doll, here's
she
the
rocks.
one movie John has actually seen.
John!
Oh, and then Gary says, and then she gets the...
The teeth, yeah.
Horror movies in general, so I haven't seen any of these, nor do I care to.
I tell you what, Cabin in the Woods, which is a modern one, is very good. It's got a great...
What is it?
Cabin in the Woods. Got a great ending.
Kevin. Oh,
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Kennedy says
Burnt
Karen Black and Burnt...
Thanks.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm writing it down. Thanks,
Okay.
Kennedy.
Kennedy says Karen Black and Burnt Offerings was more psychological. Kennedy or Gary Peppergarden remembers that one. So there we go. It's here's a list of things to keep you busy. Now we'll ask Chris. So if no horror movies, what kind of stuff are you binging?
Let's see. I rewatched Gravity Falls. Well, I rewatched the first 2 seasons, and I'm finally into the third season, which I never saw because I got rid of cable while it was still on TV.
Gotcha.
I have rewatched all of Jack of All Trades with Bruce Campbell
Okay.
because that series is amazing. And I just saw a thing about getting CBS All Access discounted. So I'm thinking about watching all of Picard and Discovery.
I heard that Picard is free right now.
Yeah, if you got
Yeah.
the code, you can get Picard for free right now.
How do you get the code?
Yeah, so I need to look into that.
I don't remember now.
By the way, Kitty says, I think I was actually thinking of Vampire, 1974 film where David Niven, who plays Dracula, gets turned black.
Wow.
And by the way, she did clarify,
Which is
not that
white
she
to do with
lived
that.
it, she loved it. Perhaps Kitty is on her phone, which definitely does fun things to words. How's that Jameson there, Ed?
It's very good.
Yeah, I
It's
like...
creamy.
Really? I like their I don't know, salon line? I don't know what you would call them. Their specialty line?
A specialty, yeah.
I haven't tried the IPA because I'm not a big fan of IPA, but I love their stout. I did the cold brew, which if you're a coffee fan, I think you'll enjoy it. I'm not a coffee fan, but it was okay. And you had that's the Black Barrel, right?
Yeah, this one I have the Black Barrel.
Andrea
which I
likes
just
that.
Tried it tonight, and it's creamy. It's very good. And I have the stout. That's what I've been sipping on the previous 2 shows.
Mhm.
But I think I like this one better.
Kennedy enjoys them also. If somebody's tried the Jameson's cask mates, oh, good enough, Kitty. Kitty says I'm on PC. My typing.
Castmates, that
Yeah.
was my favorite.
Right, the stout. But you also like the Black Barrel. I got it like one time. It's a little more expensive than the stout, and we liked the stout well enough. I continued with that one.
I don't know. I don't remember anything.
It's
It was that good, huh?
Wow.
Well, it's been a while since I've drank any of it.
And Kitty says she's on her PC, but the typing is so bad I do have an odd flub slip through. That's good enough. It adds personality.
No worries.
I would be curious about somebody who said they lived Blackula, though. I would be very curious to hear that story.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
Yeah. It's besides a night with Ed, and he got a little bitey. Good night, John. Drive safe. We'll talk to you again soon.
Bye, John.
Good
Thanks
night,
for the great
John.
game last
Good night,
night.
John.
Mm. So,
The Conjuring, that's a good horror movie. And
Yeah.
I believe you can stream it on Netflix. But
Yes.
it's my kind of horror where it's scary, but it's not just throwing crap at the camera and slashing and torturous. You know, it's about people. It's in the 70s and it's dealing with like supernatural hunters, people who deal with this stuff and help a family through it. It's loosely based on a true story. It's pretty cool. It's a good one. It's
I have been-
really good. It's good.
I saw the series The Expanse on Amazon Prime, and I started watching it and then stopped because I wanted to watch it with Andrea. And now I'm actually on book 3 of the audio books, and they're actually up to book 9. And I tell you what, for a sci-fi movie, or not movie, book, I'm really loving what they do, because each book is very much its own complete story, and then later books definitely build on it with the same characters. But by book 3, they've gone to a place I've never seen a sci-fi book go. And I went and read like the blurbs for 4 through 9, and I'm very excited about where the authors, which it's 2 authors using the pen name James S.A. Corey, I believe. Really surprised. It's bold. And I guess I could drop not big spoilers. Book 1 it might be a spoiler, but in book 1 they find a alien microbe. Good night, Tempe. Go do some
Tempe.
Good night, Tempe.
They find an alien microbe that basically was sent to our solar system and landed on a moon of Saturn, which was aimed for Earth and supposed to basically take primitive life like 2 billion years ago and reform it into something, but we don't know what. And of course, corporations get a hold of it and do things with it, turn it into weaponized. And by book 3, there's a gate that, through the story, is eventually built around Uranus, and they go through it, and there is like dozens of other gates to other places, and the control center has been shut down by a different race that nobody knows who they are. Yes, Andrea?
So what I'm getting from this is they go through Uranus and find stuff.
So it's a knockoff Stargate.
Mm-mm. No, from what I've read about the other stuff, because they're not going from Earth through this gate. See, that's why I said Uranus. Thank you, Ed, for that link. Appreciate that. But in the later books, it looks like they do open up these other gates and start colonizing these very distant galaxies. At the whole time, the threat of whatever shut down this superior race is out there somewhere. And yeah, when you have a race that's basically building portable wormholes and has a microbe that totally transforms a species into something else, the species that shut them down and beat them, what do they like? So it's got this overarching suspense that is books away. That's it. That's all.
I'm gonna have to watch.
Oh, sorry.
All right, what's the series called? Now I'm interested.
The Expanse.
The Expanse.
On Amazon
Expanse.
Prime.
Oh, The Expanse.
Yeah.
The Expanse.
Kennedy says Species is another interesting one. The cheesy one with the half-naked chick from the late 80s. The 3 of them. That one?
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying, Elizabeth?
Well, first off, I'm online looking for a script. I saw Dr. Sleep, and I loved it.
Oh, yeah?
And it was classified as a horror action thriller, and it was so much fun. It's once again, it's a smart horror. It is based on Stephen King's novel, oh god, it's just the bad guys are really bad.
Nice.
And they even do the I can't remember what they call it. I don't have my notes in front of me. It's basically someone who's not quite a mentor, but someone who's experienced the bad before our hero, and they warn him or her of how bad these people are. And it's something like they feed on pain and something, I can't remember how they put it, but it was really, really fun dialogue and just creepy powers, and you get to go into people's minds. Highly recommend it. I'm looking for the screenplay right now. Yeah, it's good. It's in the red box, Dr. Sleep. It's like it's like part 2 to The Shining.
Correct, yeah.
30 years later.
It's
Is that I need to watch that.
yeah.
They did a really good job really impersonating the hotel in the third act and the shooting, and oh yeah, it's beautiful. Well done. It's long. Get ready. It's a long one, but it's fun.
Kitty says no great society is ever destroyed from the outside. They fall apart from within. And that is very true, and something I've really enjoyed about these authors that write under the one pen name together is they are smart. The way they look into human nature and play the characters very different. As a writer, it's something I look at going, I only hope I can have my characters that distinctive and separate. And that's something Elizabeth pointed out when she looked at one of the books I recently wrote that Tara will be editing next. That, to separate my characters more by their voice, their quirks, their actions, so you can tell who's talking if you didn't put he said, she said. Human centipede.
Yeah. And you know why I said that? They were really good characters, and they deserve that. You worked hard on them.
No, and I heard what you say. I haven't sat down and done it yet, but yeah, that's something I think I need to do before Tara gets to editing, and I think she has something to edit before that, so I have time And of course, if I tag her and told her, hold off on that, let me make some adjustments to it. Because Elizabeth brought in, as a beta reader, Elizabeth, thank you. That was beautifully done, because you gave the good and the bad, and pretty much went, there's no real ugly. And then you took the movie checklist, something I had never seen, and I went, wow, this actually, it sounds like this has possibility, potential. It's not quite there.
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was very good. I told you that. I thought it was really fun and really good. And I came at it from my point of view, from what I've been trained and what they hold my scripts at. And that's why I wanted to include that for you, so you could see, like, if you were going to send it to producers, this is what they're going to look for.
There are a few things where you said, yes, it has this element that the movies look for. And I'm like, I think she might have been being nice on that, because I don't know if I'd agree with her. I think I might have missed that one point or whatever.
I didn't rate your book on that. I just copied it from the one I hired a woman to do for mine. I just cut and paste. That's not my rating. That's what she did for me, so don't pay attention to it. I just wanted you to see the
But it's
questions.
your rating of my book.
No.
Oh, that's her rating of your book? Or your script?
That's,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was so many, I just copied it and sent it to you. Like, here you go, this is what they're looking for.
Okay, so I could take that and rewrite my own with it. Gotcha. Okay, so that makes more sense.
Don't even worry. Don't even pay attention.
Because some of those things I'm like, oh no, my book hit on that, but I don't know what she saw on that. So, yeah, that was very helpful.
I just wanted you to see that. It's interesting to see from their point of view. You know, what people are looking for. And it doesn't mean they're right. I mean, who knows what sells? If people knew what sells, then we'd have nothing but blockbusters.
Right.
And, you know,
and also,
selling novels.
What sold in the 70s wouldn't sell today, and what didn't make it in the 70s might make it today, and what they like now isn't what they're going to like 20 years from now, and or next week.
Agreed.
You know, it's the...
I mean, I read that screenplay, Parasite. I have no idea why that won Best Original Screenplay. I mean, it was good. That's why I'm dying to see the movie. I want to see how it compares, because sometimes the movie is, you know.
Right.
Anyway,
right.
I digress.
A couple of comments here. Kennedy says South Park did an excellent spoof with human sent iPad, and also I also went retro and watched a Cabinet of Dr. Caligari the other night. I'm not familiar with that, Kennedy. Elizabeth, do you know that one?
Which one you cut out?
Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
No, not familiar with that
I
one.
do want to see the new Most Dangerous Game movie, which is called something... The Hunted, I think it's called.
The Hunt.
The Hunt. Which...
Yeah, I think you can rent it on TV right now. Yeah, online.
Yeah, seeing the trailer, the full trailer, I'm like, okay, so this has elements of the Most Dangerous Game, but it's different. It's got some extra stuff, and yeah, it looked interesting.
Exactly. I'm enticed. I'm intrigued. I want to see.
Want to know a little more here.
And that's the genre they keep pouting is the smart horror, where, you know, it does tickle your brain as much as, you know, maybe your heart or, you know, your emotions. I like that.
And Kennedy has clarified it's a 1920 German silent film. So that's interesting. We've got about 10 minutes.
I have seen that one.
Oh, have you? Okay.
I watched it in a class called The Spiritual Journey. I took it at Regent University, and this is one of the last films we watched. We read books and all sorts of stuff. It was very good. I just got all the images. Like, yeah, I have seen that. Thank you. Thank you for suggesting that. Have you found it online? Is there a link?
Kennedy, let us know if there's a link somewhere online or who's streaming it or whatever. Now, in our last 10 minutes here, I want to talk about the upcoming week for everybody. Now, things in the world are just getting more of what they already are. So, of course, you know, be careful, be smart, keep other people in mind. It's not just you. Kennedy streamed it. Find that link for us, Kennedy. We'll take a gander at it. But what's everybody doing for the next week, whether you're at home or still working? Chris, you mentioned you're doing these classes. So are you totally at home now?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We're not allowed to leave, so We are not essential personnel.
Gotcha. Except to go to the grocery store or the doctor.
Pretty much.
So what about you, Ed? What do you have set up?
Me?
Yeah.
It's work. Working in the security industry, of course, everybody wants fucking security, and places have come up with taking your temperature before you can enter the facility or the grounds or so forth. And if you got 100-degree temperature, then they won't let you enter. You have to go home, and it's working the hell out of me, because you get people that they walk 10 steps and they're overweight, they have an elevated temperature, so they can't enter the facility. Then they're picking up the phone. Well, Ed, so-and-so can't come in. Can you come to work? And yeah, so it's work until this bullshit lasts. It's work for me.
Now, what about Teresa?
Same deal.
Still work.
I mean, they shut down the offices. Being a manager, she's not supposed to have to go into the office, but it's just too much crap going on. She's got to go into the office in order to keep things running. It's been crazy.
Excuse me, sorry. Andrea?
Oh, just work. That as much as I can with call outs and things. I'm take as much as I can for now.
And Andrea works at
essential.
she works at a hardware store, which is considered an essential
My teacher
business.
said I would never amount to any. That bitch ain't working at all. Sorry, Elizabeth.
Elizabeth's day job is teaching. So, Andrea mentioned something earlier today about a different hardware store than the one she works at.
Yeah, I think it was in another state or somewhere else. They're turning people away because they're coming in for non-essential stuff, paint or fertilizer. They're not coming in for things to fix problems that are happening around their home, and they're turning them away. And it's like,
So there's a hardware store deciding what is essential to other people's lives and turning down purchases and money.
Interesting.
Which, fair or not fair? What do you guys think? Should they have that right to go, we're not selling you that stuff. If you're coming in here, you're coming in for important stuff.
Well, I think it's ridiculous if you're going to be open, sell it to the fucking people so they have something to do while they're stuck at home.
yeah, I mean, like where I'm at, people are coming in for essential things. A lot of people are fixing broken things in their home or replacing their refrigerator, but while they're waiting to have the refrigerator pulled or whatever, they're buying paint or plants or whatever, why not?
Kitty says, hey, my garden is essential. And it is for a lot of people. A lot of people supplement their diet through fresh fruits and vegetables that they grow in their garden. And considering...
Oh, that garden. Oh.
Different kind of garden they're at. Well, both pretty essential. Andrea?
Now a lot of people are starting home gardens because of the lack of things in the store,
Right.
and they're more time at home.
Andrea last week texted me all excited because they had a bag of potatoes and 3 onions.
Well,
So-
I'm growing lettuce in the garden, but it's not quite ready to be picked yet.
All right. What about you, Elizabeth?
Well, I will be doing the channel. I'm working
Streaming.
on Pickleman, and I offered to, at the end of the year at my school, we have a big variety show, and a graduation. So I've offered my services to put together the variety show, edit it out, do virtual recordings, put it all together, and then broadcast it on my channel. And so at the end of April, there'll be the variety show, and then a week after will be the senior graduation. And they're going to make it the senior show. So I very confidently went into that, thinking I could figure out all the technology. Let's see what happens.
I'm sure you'll work it out. Kennedy will be...
And just writing and creating.
Kennedy will be gaming D&D with another steampunk friend using Roll-D20 online, which is a great way to socialize doing online gaming. And you can game via Skype or Discord or Zoom or whatever, which I had never heard of Zoom till this week, by the way.
Can you do that on Twitch?
live stream?
Will Zoom work on Twitch?
Oh, I
yeah.
don't know.
Do Zoom on Twitch.
I assume you just do a
Will it
screen
work on
capture.
Twitch? Oh, okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about that off air, but yeah, I assume just like capturing Skype or Discord like we're doing right now would be something very similar. Chris, sound about right? You've used Zoom.
Yeah, I can't imagine that it would be any different.
Because it sounds like a cool background.
True story.
Well, you know, you get when you volunteer your services and all your equipment, then everyone turns into Spielberg, you know. Well, I only use Zoom, and I only use this, you know. Like, just, you know, work with me here. You know?
Right. Yeah, there's been more than once where I've had a guest on here, and I'm like, nope, this is what we have set up. Go download that.
I'm kind of there. Like, you know what? You don't need to be in the show.
Right. Right. And that's what it comes down to. It's
More
not.
time for my film students.
It's not their show.
Well,
It's
yeah,
your
if
show.
you're requesting a specific, file type, and they're like, well, I don't have that file type. Well, fucking convert it, or you don't get to use that file type.
Yeah.
And then they get the old, well, I need you to teach me. I ain't got time. We don't know what I got time for this shit.
YouTube is your
I send them
friend.
to YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Which I've done to Elizabeth. I'm like, I'll walk you through a little, but then go watch videos and
Yeah,
figure out the
absolutely.
rest. I can be a bridge. I can give you a basics, but more than this, do the work.
Mm-hmm. And as we all know, half of learning is just trying and failing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, as for me, I do have a very packed work week, but I will be attempting to be on here at 8 o'clock each night for at least an hour for the virtual happy hour. And that's right, drinking heavily after a day of work. And you might see Ed, you might see Elizabeth, Andrea, Chris, some of the people from Right Night, some of the people from the D&D game. I've told them they're all welcome, but I am limiting it so I can still have my recreation time without streaming, or a night's sleep. Usually it's one or the other, not both. So I would encourage all of you, come hang out, get your socialization from a safe distance, which even if I cough straight on my camera, you're going to be okay. And also do keep in mind...
I'm going to come visit Ed and try his bacon. Bacon.
Yeah,
You can have all of my bacon you want, baby.
I'm coming in.
He's got a thermometer before you can come in the house, though.
I'm gonna get in the bed with Teresa and you can watch us eat bacon.
Okay.
That's a stream. Oh, by the way, there was a comment earlier by Kitty, I think it was. Hold on, I gotta scroll up. I meant to read this one. I saw Betty Blue in a college class on movies. Our teacher thought blue meant it was a sad movie. She had no idea that a blue movie was porno. So, and then also a couple more comments. Jacob says going to be doing many things, streaming, meeting with people online, working on stuff, pretty much the usual, I guess. Really trying to do what I can to help others where I can, though. More than usual, I suppose. Kitty says I can manage most file types. It's when people use proprietary file types depending on specific program that drives me nuts. Kitty, I agree. Yeah. If you got a free program I could go download, I could work with it. If you want me to use, straight up Photoshop, I can't pay that money out to rent it for the month. But thank you guys all for joining us and hanging out, whether it's now, then, or another time. Thank you for all your support just by showing up, let alone if you're continuing to subscribe. Much appreciated. We're going to roll out of here now with some outro music. Any closing thoughts for anybody? Oh, let's do a quote. We could do that.
Quote.
There we go. Here's to our vices. May we always choose them, but never be a slave to them. There we go. Thank you, Gary. Appreciate that. Where's our outro music? Chug, chug, chug. There it is.
As we listen to the gurgle.
Tonight, you are the one thing that makes the show what it is. Don't forget to join us at the Tavern next week.
Thank you for hanging out, Poetic.
Have fun, keep learning.
Thank you. Yeah.
Now, raise your glass in good cheer. Enjoy the small moments every day and steamy dreams every night.